been 2 weeks since we've last recorded, but it feels like a lifetime. Are you okay?
I got a text from my brother. He said, shh.
Oh, wow. We're recording a podcast. He's welcome to be a guest if he would like to be. I don't know who his favorite is, Adam or Andy, but
I don't know, actually.
we should ask.
We
should have him
should.
come on the show and make a choice. It's like, you know, I don't want to call it Sophie's Choice because that seems like a bad comparison. Let's not bring that movie into this.
It is really hard to choose, though.
I'm
glad. Adam, like, of course, Adam. But then every time I think of Andy, I'm like,
no. That's the beautiful thing, Sarah, is we don't have to choose. Okay. So let's not. Right?
Right. I agree.
Like, let's never ask ourselves or the audience to choose. I think the beautiful thing is that we can celebrate both of these gentlemen equally. And thank God for them, you know? They have helped me through this quarantine, I have to say.
Yeah, this has been like one of the best parts of this year. I think like top 3 favorite this year.
And here we are at the time of this recording. So we usually record on the Thursday before the show comes out, but last week we decided to take a week off. It's really my fault. Sarah was ready to go, and I was just like, I need to do nothing
week was
for a
Christmas week.
Yes. So we didn't want to release the episode like right before Christmas, and we also I just didn't want to fucking do anything. So we didn't.
Plus Thursday fell on Christmas Eve, so
yeah.
Really
well, also, but the week before also we would have recorded and then released it last week. So we're like off a week. So listeners, I'm sorry. Usually you would have gotten an episode last week, but it was Christmas. It was. I felt like I decided to do nothing. I decided it's okay to give into my pandemic laziness and just general feelings of depression, and just I played video games, I read my comic books. I watched The Mandalorian season 1 again while I was wrapping gifts, and we did not podcast, but I'm glad that we're back because I love this movie. It is the last week of 2020. Friday.
Wait,
it'll be
Thursday's the last day.
So we're actually recording this like 2 days before this is going to come out. And we are gladly saying goodbye.
Not Christmas Eve. I'm sorry, New Year's Eve. Almost.
That's right. Which most of us will be in our homes, I hope.
Yeah.
And if you're going out and you're not living in Australia or New Zealand, go fuck yourself.
Let's go to Dick Clark's Rockin' Eve.
Dick Clark is
deceased. I know. I'm joking.
But is it Ryan Seacrest? Like, that's what Chris and I were trying to determine, like, because we're going to obviously be at home celebrating. We might boil a crab, not live crabs. I know I've said on the show that I'm vegan. I don't eat meat except for sea creatures. I don't know why I feel okay eating sea creatures. So I'm sorry, but I do eat sea creatures from time to time, and we're thinking about boiling crab. But I told Chris under no circumstances is he to bring live animals into this house because I cannot live with it. So they will be frozen. I don't know where I was going with this. What? You boil them. I mean, usually we would be in Virginia and his stepmother boils shrimp and crab for New Year's. So I was like, would it make you feel better if we did that?
I don't like things that are in the shape of their things, their bodies. Like
you don't like cracking open the exoskeleton to get at the flesh inside.
I have never been presented with an exoskeleton.
So you've never eaten crab or lobster?
I've eaten crab cakes and like crab in stuff and lobster in stuff, but
no, you've never
like it's kind of like I don't want a whole pig or a whole cow or a whole chicken in front. But I'm saying it for me, it's the same thing. Like a whole crab is like the same thing as like one of those things.
I don't understand it myself. Like I don't want to eat any kind of. I don't want meat. I don't want the flesh of an animal. But for some reason, I will still eat sea creatures, and I don't know why. But we were going to be at home, perhaps breaking into an exoskeleton, maybe. But also we were like, so what is the New Year's Eve like programming going to be like? Is it going to be like Ryan Seacrest in a bunker, like counting down? I don't know. Like we'll have to see what it's going to be like, right?
Yeah, that'd be a great name for it. Ryan Seacrest and a bunker Eve.
Ryan Seacrest rocking New Year's
bunker
Eve. So welcome to the Adam and Andy podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Nicole.
I'm your other host, Sarah.
And this is a podcast where we celebrate the goddamn beauty of Adam Driver and Andy Samberg, because quarantine, this pandemic is fucking bullshit. And we have doing this has brought us joy. So if it also brings you joy, welcome to the show. This week is an Adam week, so we'll be watching The Force Awakens. And I just got tiny little shudders all through my body just when I said those words. Oh, fan me. Before we get into this movie, would you like some Adam and Andy news? There's quite a lot, actually.
Okay, sure.
Since it's been like a couple of weeks since we recorded. Yeah. All right. So who would you like me to hit you with first, Adam or Andy?
Andy.
Okay, so number one, Brooklyn Nine-Nine has started shooting. So set pics, selfies have appeared. Everyone's wearing masks, but they have started shooting the latest season of Brooklyn Nine-Nine. So that has happened. And second piece of news, John Mulaney, sidebar, who is in rehab. But before he went to rehab, and we wish you luck, John Mulaney. Hope you have a speedy recovery, or a good recovery, or I don't know. Speedy's not good for that thing, right? No, so Speedy's not good for addiction. Well, hope you have a
safe, happy,
peaceful recovery.
Peaceful, yeah.
Anyway, John Mulaney and Andy Samberg have been cast as in the live action / animation, so there's live action and animation, Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers reboot that is going to be on Disney Plus.
I'm sorry,
you made a face. They're rebooting Chip 'n Dale's Rescue Rangers. John Mulaney and Andy Samberg doing the voices of Chip 'n Dale. They will not be in They will not be in chipmunk suits. They will just be. Maybe it's going to be something like the Chipmunks, where there's like animation and animated chipmunks and live action. I don't know, but it says animation with live action, and they will be doing the voices of Chip 'n Dale. Your thoughts?
Wow.
Something we probably won't be watching on this show.
I'm a fan of Chip 'n Dale.
Oh, you're not?
I don't really know them that well.
I wouldn't be able to pick them out of a crowd.
I don't know, like Alvin and the Chipmunks, Simon, Theodore, Chip, Dale, like they're all chipmunks to me.
Well, let's see. I think Chip 'n Dale is Disney.
Mm-hmm.
And Alvin and the Chipmunks are kind of their own thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, but they're all chipmunks.
But Chip 'n Dale, wasn't that like something with like Daffy Duck?
Yeah, it's like that kind of stuff.
And then they got their own show. You know,
I never saw a Chip 'n Dale show. I remember seeing them at Disney World, like the they wore like costumes.
It was a bit like Miami Vice, right? They were wearing like like Hawaiian shirts,
and
like fedoras, right?
Oh,
it was like
yeah. And I think I was just like, what kind of names are Chip 'n Dale? And then I met actual Chips and Dales, and they're real names.
And then you went to the actual Chip 'n Dales.
What? Yeah. What came first?
The name Chip 'n Dale, probably the names. I think the cartoons, probably. I don't know the history behind famous male strip club Chip 'n Dales. If you do know,
it's
tweet
one
at
word,
us.
Though. It's Chip 'n
Dales. I know. I'm putting a space there that doesn't belong there. If you know the history behind the male strip club Chip 'n Dales, tweet at us at AdamAndyPod. When did Chip 'n Dales open their doors?
Please tell us, because
we need to know.
We can't use Google. We don't know how.
Apparently not. So Chip 'n Dale Rescue Rangers. My sister loved that show. That was her after school like go to. I don't know if she'll be watching it now.
Well, her kids. Her
Maybe.
kids might.
I mean, my kids, they need stuff on Disney Plus. We need stuff because we're stuck in the house all the time.
We just got Disney Plus.
Are you watching The Mandalorian yet?
My family is. I am
Sarah.
not.
It's so good though. Okay. But
I
you
saw
were
the
able to
first-
watch this on Disney Plus, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I watched the first 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, and it just was like, eh. Like, I can't get invested because I can't see his face, and like, if I don't see someone's face, I can't care about them as a character.
Oh, I care deeply about Din. Deeply. I think the helmet tilting work in that show is
it the like
excellent.
It's kind of like you can't have him. That's kind of the allure, is like you don't know what he looks like, and it's like, what does he look like?
Spoilers for The Mandalorian. He does take off his helmet occasionally in certain situations.
In certain situations? What kind of situations?
Well, you'll have to watch the show.
Okay.
I actually feel like one of the most incredible things about that show is how they've made me able to care about someone whose face I never see. So that's a testament to the physical acting that is going on, since I can't see the actor's eyes, which ordinarily is the way that you connect with them. All right, so that's all the Andy news that I have. So the Adam news. Actually, let me pull up I had a little thing here that I wanted to grab from Twitter. I've started bookmarking all my Adam and Andy news so that when we do the show, I can dive right in with my thoughts. Okay, so Noah Baumbach's upcoming. So some more information about the Noah Baumbach film. Noah Baumbach's upcoming Netflix project is reportedly a family drama that tells the story of 4 siblings named Fritz, Debbie, Megan, and Walker, each facing their own problems. Greta Gerwig and Adam Driver attached to star. The film is set to start shooting in February 2021. So that's a little bit more detail about.
What about 65? Is 65 going to be done?
I guess so. It looks like he's just hopping. He's set hopping.
Wow.
Sounds but intense. Of course, just because it starts in February doesn't mean he needs to be on set in February. It kind of depends where they start. Who they start with. If I was
as rich and famous as Adam Driver, to be like, I'm taking 3 months off every 3 months.
I don't think this guy sleeps. He was working on his birthday, Sarah.
Yeah.
This guy is like, I'm just gonna act the shit out of this life.
He likes it that way.
So yeah, so it's going to be shooting February 2021. And then other piece of news here, actually a lot of news, but I'm just going to go with these 2 items. Variety recently named Adam one of the most of their Variety 500, which is the 500 most important people in global media for 2020.
Okay. What did he rank?
I don't. Oh shit! I don't know. Hang on. I don't know. I guess I didn't think to check the ranking. 28. I was just like, I didn't think to check the ranking. But I do know that it is pretty amazing considering that he did not officially release a movie this year. However, he does continue to work a lot with his.
Did he not? What about
no?
Marriage Story was 2019, I guess.
2019, yeah.
Okay.
But he does work a lot with his veterans organization. They do a lot of stuff. So that might have been part of it. Let's see, where is that news item? Sorry, I've got to scroll through the many fics that I have also bookmarked. All the fics that I'm bookmarking that I'm definitely going to read at some point. Oh, also apparently Annette. You've heard about Annette, right?
No.
Annette is the movie that he shot that was supposed to be released this year, but was not because of the pandemic, because they wanted to release in theaters. Annette is a movie starring Adam and Maria Cotillard.
Mm-hmm.
It is a musical, and he is playing a stand-up comedian.
Yes.
It has been rated R, apparently.
Ooh. Okay, I need
for
directors
sexual content and nudity.
Mm,
So let's cross those fingers.
Let's hope it's his nudity.
And not who? I don't
Marianne
know.
Cotillard's?
What? Well, I mean, not unnecessarily. I mean, she's a beautiful woman, but let's, as we sit here just flagrantly talking about his body, we're just like, but don't objectify.
I know, exactly. Yeah.
Don't objectify the actress.
Exactly. It's
don't
very
you dare.
Critical, yes.
Yes, we freely admit it.
So, what was I going to say?
I cannot find this article. You go ahead. What were you going to say, Sarah?
That's the question. You know, my brain is starting to break down. And not because of the pandemic, but because, I don't know, I'm too young for it to be an age-related thing, but sometimes what I'm about to say just flies out of my brain.
Oh, no.
Just disappears.
Well, I'll have to look at, oh, boy. Yeah, Sarah's going to take me a while to dig up exactly what number he is. But, oh, wait, somebody did bookmark it. Hang on. I don't know that they ranked people.
Oh. You know, that would make sense.
Of 500, he's 500 people. He's in the 500. Oh, wait. He's like 200 and something.
Yeah.
It's not bad considering he didn't release anything this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just, you know,
people
talking about stuff he's about to do. They're thinking about him. He's on their minds. And he's on all of our minds.
Adam.
Anyway. All right. Shall we talk about this movie? Shall we get into the meat of this episode?
The Force Awakens.
The Force Awakens.
Me.
Did it awaken in you?
Yes.
Ooh, I'm so excited about that. Now, if this is your first time listening to the show or encountering me in any way, just to let you know, I'm a huge Star Wars fan. I think it would be an understatement to say that I'm a Star Wars fan. Is understating my relationship with Star Wars.
She's a Star Wars stan.
I'm a stan. I stan Star Wars. And just so we're clear, I also love the sequel trilogy. I love it. It was especially so when this film came out. Let's talk a little bit. I'd like to talk a little bit about, first of all, like, what did you think when you first heard that Adam had been cast in Star Wars? What did you think about when they were putting out a new Star Wars? Because of course, we had not seen a new Star Wars film when this came out since the 1990s. So Revenge of the Sith, or sorry, early 2000s. I think
2000s.
2005 or something.
Yeah.
Revenge of the Sith came out. That was the last one. Sarah, what were your thoughts when you heard, they're making a new Star Wars movie?
I was really excited because I heard it was directed by J.J. Abrams, and I knew he did very good work. And then I heard who was cast, and Adam Driver was the only one that I knew, and I knew him from Girls.
That's true. Lots of unknowns at the time, I think.
Yeah. And I was really excited, and I was like, "Ooh, he's playing a villain. Of course, he's playing a villain." And
they were very cagey about it, though. They weren't like, they didn't want to tell you anything really. Like, it was kind of hard to know what. It wasn't until the trailer came out and we saw him with the red lightsaber, I think, that we knew that he was at least on the dark side.
So I'm gonna jump back because actually I didn't hear about it until I saw the trailer. Like the trailer was the first thing that I saw. And when I watched this film today, I was like, I was seeing the trailer in my head again. I was like, that trailer was the shit. Like,
it was the shit. I actually watched it. Good. After I watched this movie, I watched the trailer because I was like, I need the experience of watching the trailer again.
Yes, the trailer is so good.
It was very good, yeah.
They picked like the perfect lines, the perfect moments to just really excite you.
But kept the big reveals out of the trailer, which was great. Awesome. So
2015, by the way.
2015, that's right. So this movie came out 5 years ago. I actually took my 5-year-old daughter to see it. after I had seen it a couple times, of course, because don't ever take your children to the movies the first time you see something, because you'll never see the fucking movie. Remember theaters? Anyway, remember those? So I'm, as a huge Star Wars fan, I thought we were never going to get Star Wars again, and I certainly didn't think we were going to get any Star Wars with Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford. Didn't think that was ever going to happen again. So, needless to say, the moment I heard that this movie was coming, I could think of nothing else for like the 3 years that it took for them to make this. I wandered the earth.
Screaming.
And they were very tight-lipped about the entire thing. Like they didn't tell us like what was how much we knew that the original the OT or the original trilogy actors, we knew that they would be in the film. And then we had heard that Daisy Ridley had been cast, and now I did know about oh gosh, what is her name? Who played Gwen Phasma? Or Captain Phasma
in Game of Thrones?
Or maybe her name's Gwendolyn Christie. Sorry, I'm mixing it up with like fics that I've read. Gwendolyn Christie played Captain Phasma. I knew her from Game of Thrones.
Mm-hmm.
And I knew Oscar Isaac from, I feel like that movie Inside Llewyn Davis came out before Star Wars. Mm-hmm. So I knew him from that, and I liked him very much.
Machina too. I knew him from that.
I think I saw Ex Machina after Star Wars, so I think I had already seen it. I think
Ex Machina was 2014, 2015, something like that. It was like that year or the year before.
But I didn't see it when it came out. Like I think I saw it a year later. Also, Dom Holger Gleeson, I didn't know of as well.
Movie too. Yeah, I had
Andy Serkis, I did know. Andy Serkis, of course, Snoke. I knew from who played Snoke. And that was kind of it. And Adam Driver, obviously. So, I had heard of John Boyega from Attack the Block, but I had not seen Attack the Block. So I knew it was a lot of new people, which was great. I think that was the right decision for them to put new faces in there. When I heard they cast Adam Driver, I was very intrigued because I was like, how does Adam Sackler fit in the Star Wars universe? Like, because I only knew him from Girls. So I was like, first of all, I'm intrigued as hell because I absolutely loved him on Girls. And secondly, I was like, how is this man going to fit in the Star Wars universe? Like, I'm so intrigued. And since I thought he was a really good actor, I knew that whatever they were going to put him in, it would be interesting. So I was really curious.
He fits in so nicely.
He fits in like a glove, like a great big thundering glove. I'm blushing. I am blushing so hard right now.
You are blushing.
So Sarah, I watched the trailer. I remember this is one of those key moments in my life. I was at an Old Navy with my mother. I want to say it must have been around Christmas time. Must have been after Christmas. I think we were hitting up the after Christmas sales when the very first Force Awakens teaser was released.
Wait, the trailer was released like a year before it came out?
Oh, yes. It was released
I forgot about that.
Over Christmas, and then they released another one a couple months later, the one that you're talking about. But they released a teaser, and I remember I remember seeing on my phone that the trailer had come out, and I stood in a corner of the Old Navy and watched the trailer, and then watched it like 3 more times because I was just so excited.
And your mom was like, "Where's Nicole?"
Oh no, I was like, "Mom, look, it's the Force Awakens trailer," and she was like, "Give me your phone." So
like she wanted to see it, or she wanted you to put it down.
She wanted to see it also. So we all had to watch it. At the Old Navy, they had decent Wi-Fi, thankfully. And so I was super excited. When you went to see this movie, Sarah, did it live up to your expectations?
It surpassed them when I saw it.
And my expectations were pretty low. Pretty low. I was like, I really just want Star Wars. That's all you need to give me.
Yeah. I would say my expectations were low. I will say that every time, like each successive time I see it, it like gets worse for me.
Okay.
Like
I still enjoy it.
Flaws. I
see flaws, but much like the other movies, like I see flaws in the other movies as well. Yeah. And I'm just like, you know what? I'm fine with it because I love this so much.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. So let's get into it. What's the first thing on your list? that you want to talk about? Oh, I did want to say one more thing about J.J. Abrams. I know he's a controversial figure in the fandom because of The Rise of Skywalker. Some people really liked it. Some people really didn't. There are a lot of people that very like that a lot of the things they wanted to see happen, they didn't care for the way the story went. And so I just want to acknowledge that. We won't be talking about that, I don't think, today, because that's really something I'd like to save for when we eventually watch that movie. But I will say that going into this, I really like JJ. I liked Lost. I liked Fringe. I liked Super 8. I was really jazzed that he was attached to direct this. I liked this new Star Trek movie the first Star Trek that he had put out. I thought that was super fun and exciting. And I think JJ really excels in casting. I think he's excellent at casting. Every show he's been a part of, and this is included, like, he really started this trilogy off with a great cast. There are people that believe that he's not very good at finishing a story, and I think JJ has also said that as well. But I do also want to point out that a lot of the stories that people are annoyed about, like Lost had a terrible ending. Well, JJ was only involved in the pilot, and then after that he was out. So JJ with TV shows often comes in, does the first episode or two, and then he's out. Like Fringe, I think he stayed on for the first season, but then other showrunners took over. So aside from the films that he's done, and I do think the Star Trek films kind of decreased in quality over time. I agree with that. But if you're out there upset about a TV show that JJ did, he really only did the pilot, and then he moves on to something else. He does like starting a story and then moving on to something else. He's said that in interviews. But I think he did a really fantastic job with Force Awakens. There's certainly a lot of things for us to discuss in terms of what worked or didn't work in The Rise of Skywalker, and we will leave that discussion for The Rise of Skywalker, I think. But I just want to acknowledge that. And if you didn't like that movie, totally valid. And if you did like that movie, totally valid. But we're not talking about it today. Anyway, Sarah, let's get back to your list.
So the film starts off with we are introduced to Poe first, I believe.
Poe Dameron, that's right, yeah. Poe Dameron and Lor Santeca, played by this was the last role for, oh my God, Max von Sydow. Okay. Or Sydow. I'm not really sure. Excuse me. I just burped directly into the microphone like an uncouth asshole.
So there's this, is it like a hard drive or something? Basically,
it has like a thumb drive. Looks a bit like a thumb drive that you might toss some photos on. It's a intergalactic thumb drive. That's what I'm going to call it.
Thumb drive. And it has, I don't know exactly what, I've seen this movies too many times to know, like, are we told right from the start that it has the location of Luke Skywalker, or is that something we find out later on?
Not yet. At that moment, they just know that there's some important information on there, and I think at some point in that scene when Kylo Ren shows up, he says he wants the map, so we know it's a map, but they don't really get to the fact that it's a map leading to Luke Skywalker. I think maybe when Poe tells Finn in the TIE Fighter, possibly.
Yes, you're right.
That might be the first time he mentions it.
Yeah, and then Finn is like, ugh.
He's just like, of all the people for me to spring today, it's got to be this guy.
Yeah. So anyway, we're introduced to Poe and that thumb drive. I'm sorry.
The intergalactic thumb drive.
Yes. And then Kylo Ren and the stormtroopers descend upon the world and start to, they actually, Kylo kills, what's his face? The man.
Lor Santeca, yes.
Yeah.
And the village, and he orders the stormtroopers to kill all the villagers.
But there is a stormtrooper who is, he wants to break free of his restraints.
Having a straight up panic attack during this battle. It seems
he doesn't want to kill anyone. He wants to desert. And I really the first time I saw it and this time, it was like, I love how they follow the stormtrooper and we don't see his face because he's in the helmet, and that's, and I was like, this is the first time that in a Star Wars film the camera has followed like an individual stormtrooper because they're always just like in the background or like
they're always just like goons. They're just goons that can't shoot very well, and they're man,
they immediately.
I noticed also in this movie that they really emphasize how brittle the fucking stormtrooper armor is. It's just getting cracked open constantly. But yeah, I think that the choice to follow a stormtrooper and humanize him, I think that this story, and there's a lot more I think we can say about this. I think this story was the first time to me that it felt like and again, like I haven't watched the Clone Wars cartoon or TV series. It is on my I'm planning to watch it. It is in my queue. So if I'm not paying homage to that, I apologize. But to me, in the films, this was the first film where I felt like they started to introduce sort of a gray area between like the good guys and the bad guys. Yeah. In the original trilogy, it was very clear: good guys, bad guys. I feel like even in the prequel trilogy, it's very clear. It's like good guys, bad guys. Anakin turns into a bad guy by the end, right? Yeah. And so to take a stormtrooper who's like this infantry person and introduce conflict, like a moral conflict there, where he doesn't want to kill. And I think that again, I love the directing of the scene when the other stormtrooper touches his forehead, we see the blood on the helmet. Not only does that mark him as we know, like, okay, that's Finn. Like, I'm looking at this stormtrooper that I'm following now. But also it makes them human in a way that they were always just kind of like automatons under there, you know? And so I really liked that as a entry point into a character to get to know them. And also just Finn is just a really fucking great character. I love him.
But also, to jump ahead a little bit, but stay on this topic, he reveals to Rey later on that he was taken as a child, and basically he's like a slave, essentially, in this organization. And
he's a child soldier that was taken from his family. And so he and Rey have a lot in common in that she was kind of sold to this junk trader guy, and now she works for him in this desert planet. So the two of them actually have a lot in common. They don't have families. They don't have a lot of control over their lives at the time when we meet them.
Yeah.
But he seems to be, I would say that his experiences have made him a little, have made him more jaded than her. Yeah. She seems to be like, have still a little bit of hope, whereas he doesn't. And maybe that's because she's got the hope that maybe her family will come back and rescue her at some point.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, while we're talking about Finn, and Poe, one of the things on my list here is the chemistry between Poe and Finn as characters. I just love them. I could watch 1,000 scenes with them. Just their banter. Like, John Boyega has such great timing, like comedic timing, and just like this time I always enjoy him, but I felt like I really enjoyed John Boyega so much this time watching the movie.
Me too.
And I just love their chemistry and their back and forth. And I think the chemistry, I feel like it's important for me to point out that I thought the chemistry between all of the leads, all the varying chemistry, Rey to Kylo Ren, Finn to Poe, Finn to Rey, like all of those little groups worked so well for me. And I think they really needed to, like, the movie would not work without it. And again, like, I think that's the casting just really worked, because we all wanted to see Han Solo, and we all wanted to see Princess Leia, and we all wanted to see Luke Skywalker. But the story can't continue unless we care about the characters that we're now following. And for me, I really care a lot, and they made me care about them really fast, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I think that I remember when I was a kid and I first saw the original trilogy, and I remember thinking, like, the thing that makes this trilogy good and like something that everyone cares about is the characters and the relationships between the characters. Like, the plot is like okay, but like the Han, Luke, Leia.
Don't squint too hard at the plot of this movie. I mean, I don't find it as full of holes as a lot of other people do, but there is a lot of retelling of kind of an old narrative that's been remixed. It's a remix.
But I don't even mean the plot of like this particular movie, but all the plots of Star Wars. It's like it's like okay, it's like good, but like the characters,
That's
the
true,
Han,
yes.
Luke, Leia, like the core characters, like that's why I loved Star Wars, and that's why I love this new trilogy. Is because of the characters.
Absolutely, yeah. Yeah, so we've got Poe and Finn, and Poe gets captured by the First Order, which is the new sort of empire, is the First Order.
The new empire, yeah.
And he is taken aboard, I assume whatever Star Destroyer Kylo Ren is on. And Kylo Ren is kind of, so that's who Adam Driver's playing, of course. If you're living under a rock, you may not know, but Kylo Ren
under a fucking rock
is playing Kylo Ren / we find out later Ben Solo. Oh my god, my mind was blown when I was like, you're telling me they gave us I'm gonna be sputtering a lot here. I was so surprised the sort of tragic turn the story took. I was not expecting them to come in and say, all right, Han and Leia, not together. They're estranged. Luke Skywalker, we don't know where the fuck he is. Han and Leia did have a kid. He turned to the dark side, and he's now going by Kylo Ren. And I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm so glad that they did it, though, because the story is not... Look, we all would want... deep in my heart, I would have wanted a happier resolution for all of them. But the story is much more interesting when there's conflict. And there's a lot of conflict here.
Off with conflict, too. Like, you can't, like, start everything off great. Like, stories need conflict.
And Kylo Ren is, like, fucking... that he's strong. Like, he's powerful. Like, he can stop a bolt from a blaster and not even have to keep his hand up there like, like every time I had seen the Force in other films, generally, it was like you had like somebody had to have the hand up, you know? He's just like literally holding it there with his fucking super powerful mind. And I like it. Like, and then I love that part where he like, it's there and you kind of forget about it. And then as he's walking away, it's like, now he doesn't need to, now it's, he's done with it. And it just kind of flies into the blaster bolt that he was holding there. Just kind of flies into a rock or something. So Poe gets captured. Finn springs him. That's how they end up on Jakku, which is where Rey is. Anything to say about Rey? What would you like to say about Rey?
First, I think we need to comment on the fact that the ship crashes and we are following Finn.
Yes.
And he goes to the ship and it sinks into the sand and Poe is nowhere to be found, but there's Poe's jacket, and so Finn just assumes that Poe is dead.
Yeah, which I think we all did.
We all assumed.
Yeah.
And we were wrong, but we'll get to that later. But Rey, so I love the theme of Rey, like the
music. The absolutely, me too.
Love it. And she seems very independent, very self-sufficient and strong. And then we meet. So she meets BB-8, and
the droid.
BB-8 was we've actually met when we met Poe.
Yes, he's a cute little round droid. Yes.
Super cute.
So cute. Him. Oh my god.
And he has the thumb drive now.
He's got the galactic thumb drive, which apparently you can just put it. No, you don't. That's not the official name, Sarah. That's just the name I came up with. But it looks like he's got a little drawer and you could just drop that thumb drive in there and apparently it just works. You don't have to stick it in anywhere.
Drop it thumb drive.
Drop it in the drawer and he's good to go. He can project that map anywhere.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so she, and this little droid wants to be her friend, wants to be with her. I mean, I don't know if he wants to be her friend. I think he wants to just
he seems friendly. I mean, he could have gone off by himself, but it seemed like he wanted to stay with her. Like she rescues him from almost being stolen. I mean, apparently like she's on a planet. They're on a planet where ship parts and droid parts are highly coveted items that you can sell for food. And there's not a lot of food to go around, apparently. So
Jakku is very Tatooine-like.
It is.
We begin A New Hope on Tatooine. So I thought that was interesting how they both, started off on Tatooine, like play
on a desert.
Desolate, dry
desert, kind of lawless, a little bit lawless. There's a little bit of lawlessness. I mean, it's not
longing for
something bigger. Well, that's the thing, is that Rey doesn't long for something bigger. Like, I think she does inside, but she wants her family. Like, she doesn't want to leave Jakku. Like, Luke Skywalker in the original trilogy is very clear that he wants to leave Tatooine and be a pilot, and Rey gets thrown into this adventure, but does not, like, she's just trying to get back home because she was wanting to wait for her family. And that image of her scratching all those like days into the wall of the AT-AT. Also, just generally, I want to talk about how much I love the way that because so much time has passed since the original trilogy, like, 30 years or so passed since the original trilogy. And since they can't fill in.
No. Hold on. 77 to 87. Almost 40 years, Nicole.
Sure, for our time, but in the time of the timeline, because Ben is born right after, like Ben is born like a year after the Return of the Jedi.
Man, they were quick.
According to the books, they got in there, they got it done. And so he's born like a year after the Return of the Jedi, and he is 29 when the film starts. So it's been 30 years since the last film in the Star Wars timeline.
How old is Adam Driver? How old was he in 2015? I have to know.
Well, see, he's 37 now.
Minus 5, 32.
But of course, they spent probably 2 years making this film.
So he would have been like 30. So
early 30s, yeah. So very comparable to the character. So anyway, I got sidetracked, but my point is there's a lot of time that has passed. And so to let us know a bit of what's gone down since then, we see all these old Star Destroyers and there was a battle, and in fact, there's a book. I'll have to look up the name of it. It's really, really good. It's actually a book about. I think it's a YA novel, but it's like really good. But it's a Star Wars book about a romance that exists between a rebellion pilot and a empire, like an empire officer. But they didn't start out that way. It just, that's how they end up. Anyway, it's about the two of them and their journeys kind of coinciding with the original trilogy events. And like, so what happened to the regular people who experienced the Death Star blowing up and like all that stuff. It's really good. Anyway, it ends with the Battle of Jakku. So it ends with a Star Destroyer going down on Jakku. And so I really love seeing all these old AT-ATs and like Star Destroyers just like laying around these empty cavities, like these reminders of this big war that happened. And the fact that like, even though the war happened and you think at the end of Return of the Jedi, everything's going to be great now. Like for a lot of planets like Jakku, like it's like, it hasn't actually gotten that much better.
Yeah.
And then they got rid of the Empire temporarily, but now they're dealing with the First Order, right?
Which is a lesson. And it's interesting that this movie came out in 2015 because it's kind of like in 2016, Trump was elected.
And it's evil never dies.
Yeah. It kind of is very interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a cycle of like, it's, well, we can talk more about this, I guess, when we get to the Last Jedi, but there is sort of a viewpoint in the Last Jedi that like, you blow them up today, they blow you up tomorrow. Like it's this constant back and forth between these two groups. Anyway, I just really love these like old, like Rey lives in an old AT-AT. Like it's just like very cool that they have incorporated those that old iconography from the movies. All right, what else you got on your list?
So what comes next?
Well, we probably should like skip ahead. You got so like a couple of bullet points you want to.
Okay, General Hux.
Yes.
I want to mention him, played
Yes, I'd
by
love to talk
Domhnall
about him.
Gleeson.
He's great.
And in this movie, I mean, I guess we can't skip ahead to the third movie, but in this movie, he is bad guy, just like the number 2 bad guy, I guess, after
Yeah, he
Kylo.
seems like a sort of quasi-Nazi zealot kind of, and I like it. I like that character.
His acting is so great.
He's great. He's and he's just like loving. He's reveling in his badness.
Yeah.
I also love that they set up, because this is something they had set up early on in A New Hope, but it didn't really continue. Like in A New Hope, Vader was kind of at odds with like the other members of the Empire, like the other higher ups, where they would like make fun of him for being like, you know, a Force user or whatever. And that didn't really carry on into the next movies because there wasn't really anybody left with but Vader. But I love this sort of push and pull between Hux and Kylo Ren, where neither one of them really like each other, and they're both kind of vying for who is in charge and who is the favorite with Snoke. And you know, Hux is really in charge of this Starkiller Base project, which he uses to destroy the last remnants of the Republic, the Hosnian system. And you know, and Kylo is, you know, making fun of him for the stormtrooper, like getting, you know, being sort of like the stormtrooper that is a traitor to them in their eyes, becomes a sort of thorn in their side throughout the entire movie. Anyway, I love that dichotomy, that the conflict there between those two characters that really don't like each other but are forced to work together. I like that a lot.
I would also like to mention the scene where a minion person comes to Kylo and tells him bad news about the fact that Rey and Finn got away with the droid.
Well, he has several temper tantrums in this movie.
Well, I would like to compare him to Darth Vader, but in that particular scene, he, like you said, has a temper tantrum and just like takes his lightsaber and just destroys the console in front of him so that it's like this complete, like it's destroyed. And I was watching this with my family, and my brother was like, "Yeah, that's not how Darth Vader would have done it." I feel like Darth Vader was much more controlled.
Yeah, no, Darth Vader's rage was, I mean, Darth Vader killed a lot of minions. Like Darth Vader, like we don't see Kylo's energy, it gets taken out on objects.
Things.
His anger gets taken out on objects, whereas Darth Vader would just fucking choke you. Like if he was displeased with you. Like the turnover rate on his Star Destroyer was real high.
Yeah.
He was going through admirals right and left. But yeah, Kylo is more
I would say that
he's gonna cut up a chair.
Yeah, I feel like
when he's angry,
Darth is more like cold and calculating, and Kylo is more like just like angsty and like angry, and like
he's an angry emo star prince.
Emo, yeah.
He's very emo. He's so a goth. He is a beautiful emo goth prince.
Sorry, can I also say something else?
Please, it's a podcast. Please say everything.
I just mean like a different thing, because when we're talking about Kylo, I love the scene. Oh God, I don't want to skip ahead. Okay, the first scene between Kylo and Rey.
Okay, well really, you know what? While we're talking about Kylo / Ben, I have a question that I would like to ask you, and that is, why do you think Kylo wears the mask? I just want to talk about that because I have a lot of thoughts about that.
I think it has to do with Darth and being like Darth, and also sealing his face, and
for sure,
not showing his weakness, because he has a very expressive face.
Exactly, that's what I think.
Very and you can get to his soft.
He looks like a soft
squishy
baby. Yes. He looks like a soft baby. And I just want to pet his hair.
I just want to kiss
him. So you
him.
can't be evil if you look like a soft baby inside.
No.
I think so too. Yeah, I think it's all those things. I think that he obviously is idolizing Vader, which is interesting. So a little backstory on that character from the books. Ben Solo no one knew that Darth Vader was Luke and Leia's father, except for Luke and Leia and Han and maybe Chewbacca. No one knew that.
Maybe Chewbacca.
The whole world. I'm just saying this is from the novels.
Yeah.
No one knew. And they didn't tell him. He was well into his teens, I think. He actually when he was 10, that's not in this movie, but it's in the novels. When he is 10 years old, he's sent off to train with Luke, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in his teens, somewhere in there, when Leia is still in the Republic Senate, somebody finds out that Vader is her father and outs her to the entire Senate. So the way that he finds out that he is related to Darth Vader is from the news, basically.
Like a tweet.
Yeah, it's like the world's worst tweet. Like his parents don't tell him, his uncle doesn't tell him. He finds out well into his teens, maybe 15, 16. I think something like that.
That would make a teen go bad.
Yeah, but he doesn't, not for years. Like, I think that I want to talk more about the Rise of Kylo Ren comic when we eventually get to The Last Jedi, because I feel like those should go together. But he is well into his early 20s when he actually turns to the dark side. So he lived with this information for some time.
Does he actually turn?
Does he fully turn? I think that's debatable, which is what I would love to talk about. But anyway, my point is, I think that it's interesting that probably when he initially discovered that he was related to Darth Vader, it was probably a really bad thing. But then maybe at some point he decided, maybe this is just who I am and I need to lean into it, you know? Mm-hmm. Not to mention the fact that it is in the novels and comics, it is made clear that Snoke has been talking to him since he was a child. Talking to him, telling him things about his parents, telling him things about himself, trying to basically grooming him like a predator would.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that the mask is about literally trying to put on this identity.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I am a bad person and I am a monster and I'm going to wear the monster's mask.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think it's also to conceal his identity, because every time they look at him, they see his parents.
Yep.
Like other people in the galaxy. And also to conceal the fact that he looks like a soft baby. That you just want to pet his hair.
Like, when you wear a helmet, it's like you forget that you're human. Or like when you look at someone with a helmet, it's like, do they have a bunch of small heads? Like, is their skin purple? Are they human, or are they some other thing?
I think. Like, what are they like under there? Are they like, Rey calls him a monster, a literal monster several times, or a creature.
Mm-hmm.
She calls him a monster. She calls him a creature. These are all things that she calls him as he's wearing that mask. All right. Yeah, I think let's talk about that first scene between him and Rey.
In the forest.
The forest of Takodana.
So he comes upon her and she starts to shoot at him, and she's very scared.
Yeah, she's scared.
I love the juxtaposition between this scene and the last scene of them together with the fight. But I'm not going to get there yet. But the juxtaposition
and there's like a similar terrain because they're in the woods. Mm-hmm. And also, I think a similar thing where he's coming after her and she kind of gets the high ground by jumping up over a ridge. She does the same thing in the last scene as well to get away from him. What else did you want to say about this confrontation? So at this point, They're still trying to get the map. At this point, we know that it's a map to Luke Skywalker, and we know that Kylo Ren is like he is intent on getting this map, and apparently at the maybe at the risk of disrupting whatever mission the First Order actually has. Like he is obviously dead set on getting this map. Hux thinks that they just need to destroy it. But Kylo wants the map, and so he's chased her into the woods to get the droid.
And he tries to use his mind control stuff on her, and she kind of like pushes back, and he's a little.
Not in this scene. No. In this scene, okay. He just digs right into her mind. Yeah.
Okay.
Which I would say, I would also like to point out, at least in the movies, is not a power that we've really seen before. Like, I think it exists in the EU and like the comics and stuff, but like we've not really seen someone's mind be probed this way as we see Kylo do to both Poe and Rey, and it seems like it looks painful.
Yeah, painful.
But yeah, he goes in there and he can see that she's seen the map.
Yep.
So he doesn't feel like he needs the droid anymore.
Yeah, and he like makes her faint and then carries her onto his ship.
Yeah. I would like to point out that this, among the Reylo community, this scene, they call it the bridal carry. It is a big scene. Like, so among people that began shipping Kylo and Rey in The Force Awakens, this was a big scene for them. Was hit like why they were like why is he carrying her that way? Like it seems there's something very like
he should like
monster in the romantic monster movie kind of thing about it, you know, where he's like carrying her. He doesn't toss her off to a stormtrooper. Yeah, like a King Kong type thing. Yeah, exactly. Also, sidebar, there's an interview with Daisy Ridley where she talks about how he had to carry her up that ramp like a bunch of times, and it was really hard, and it was really hot in that costume, and he was like cursing and sweating the whole time because it was just miserable carrying her up and down that ramp all day long.
He was cursing. Oh, that would make me feel bad if he's like.
I don't think he was cursing at her. I think he was just cursing generally at how like it was exhausting apparently. But man. she's like I just got to be carried around for hours, so I just enjoyed myself.
Well, she seems light.
Yeah, I would think she seems compared to him. Because he's huge.
She is tall.
He's we've determined that he's large. I don't know how tall she is, but he's a large man. And they made him look as big as possible. They were like, let's take this large man and make him look as even taller. If
she's
we possibly
5'7".
Okay, well that's like she's got like 6 inches on me, so it's like a half foot on me.
I've got 3 inches on her.
Yep, that's true.
Okay.
All right. So I would also like to talk just briefly about one of my favorite stormtroopers, which is the "Come at Me, bro" stormtrooper. Who like?
Which one is that? Oh, with Finn.
With Finn, where Finn is using the lightsaber, which I was like, "Holy shit! Someone's using the lightsaber."
Yeah.
I like that fight a lot between him and the stormtrooper.
That stormtrooper is really, you're right. Come at me, bro.
Come at me, bro. I'm like, I like his energy. I like how he tosses like his shit aside and is just like, I'm gonna fucking kill you. And then he gets shot by Chewbacca's bowcaster. I have a question for you, Sarah.
Mm-hmm.
This is, again, I love this movie. It works for me. There's one thing that bothers me.
Yeah.
How does Starkiller Base work? How does it work?
It sucks the sun.
It sucks the
stars.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, hold on. I don't like how they say the sun because like we have this. The sun is like in our solar system, but it's a star. So it sucks the nearby star. Mm-hmm. The science light. You know what I mean? It's like okay, so my parents call it movie science, which
or
is
space
like
magic.
science
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense, but it's just
Well,
it's in
here's
movies.
what I need to know. So I get that. They suck the light from the star, near star, and they use that energy to power a laser, which I believe the planet has a lot of kyber crystals in it, which is kyber crystals, excuse me, I burped again. I'm disgusting. Kyber crystals are used to power lightsabers. They were used to power the Death Star. And this planet has a lot of kyber crystals, apparently. So my question is, this is a planet they've built a space station into. Can they move the planet like a ship?
I think they could. I think they should. I think that
Because if they can't, then when
they
you
can't.
drain one star, you're pretty much done, right?
Mhm.
Also, it's like you can only shoot your neighbors.
Exactly.
So
How
does the planet move then? Like, how do they make the planet move? If you know how Starkiller Base works, please tweet at us at Adam and Andy Pod or at Adam Andy Pod at Adam
how do
Andy Pod. How does Starkiller Base work?
how do they
I need
get
to
it
know.
to break the gravity? Because if it's of that solar system's sun, how do they break the bonds of exactly? How do you move a planet? Is your question.
Exactly. Like my question is, does the planet move? I think they made a very clear choice not to say whether it does or not.
Mhm.
But I feel like you can't like the planet is not very threatening just where it is. Just move away from that planet. It can't reach all the way across space. It can't go into hyperspeed. So I'm just saying, I'm confused how Starkiller Base works. That's my main problem. And it's not a big problem. I don't even care that much. I honestly don't. Like, I don't watch this movie and like I'm not bogged down by it, but every time they destroy Hosnian Prime, I'm like, so is Hosnian Prime like close to them? Did the planet go to them? Like, is it just like, oh, isn't this advantageous how close we are to Hosnian Prime? And now we've drained the star, and I guess like we got to move to a new planet. I just don't understand how it works. And it just, for a second, it just pops into my head every time I watch this movie.
And
How does Starkiller Base?
and also, this would have taken more than 30 years to build. Like this infrastructure in this entire planet. Like I don't understand.
Well, we know the First Order has. First of all, we know from the Mandalorian that the Empire never really went away. And then eventually they do morph into the First Order, but basically they don't go. They're like the GOP. They never really go away. They just wait until they can get reelected and take everything over again. And so I believe I don't know how long Starkiller Base was under construction.
Also, one more thing about this Starkiller Base, the name.
Mm-hmm.
They kill
That was a very dramatic pause.
They kill planets, not stars.
Okay,
I guess they drain stars.
Let me hit you with this. Starkiller was the original last name of Luke Skywalker. When George Lucas was writing Star Wars, it was originally Luke Starkiller, and he changed it to Luke Skywalker. So the name Starkiller Base is a nod to the original name of Luke Skywalker.
Starkiller? That would have been horrible.
Oh yeah, I know. Well, Han Solo was going to have a green face, so you're welcome. A lot of things didn't happen that were originally in Lucas's plans. So he made some better choices, and one of them was to not name his protagonist Luke Starkiller.
That's so funny.
Okay, moving on. I'd like to talk about Han Solo for a second. Harrison Ford, love him in this movie. He's great. His banter with Chewie is great. They really gave me the Han Solo that I wanted, even though he's kind of sad and like broken down a little bit. Like he's still got that spark in him. I love the scenes with him and Carrie Fisher. Again, like I'm really sad that Han and Leia didn't work out, but I kind of get it. Like I get it. It makes sense. She's very driven. She's driven politically. He's kind of a wanderer, and they had this thing that happened between them, which is that their relationship fell apart with their son, and he, turned to the dark side, and it was something that they just could not repair between the two of them. Even though that you can tell they still love each other. So I want to talk about his death. And I want to use this to talk about something that I deeply love about, first of all, watching this movie the first time, when they dropped the information that Kylo is actually the son of Han and Leia. I'm like, oh wow, holy fucking shit, right? And then, but we don't get his name until the scene on the bridge where he yells Ben. Which, if when I think about it too hard, is kind of a strange thing for them to name their kid. I mean, Leia didn't really have a relationship with Ben Kenobi. Luke did. But I guess a lot of people have indicated that she named her son after the last hope of the rebellion, which was Ben Kenobi, which is pretty powerful. But I mean, you've got this kid who comes from this huge legacy, right? And every part of his name is a legacy. Even his own first name is not even his first name is attached to someone else, which is pretty big deal. What I love about Ben Solo, the character, is that, and I think only Adam Driver could have played this, and I think we've said this over and over again on the show, is that one of the things that I love about Adam Driver is his ability to take someone that we shouldn't like. Like, he kills Han Solo. Like, he kills the character that I loved the most growing up. Han Solo was like my favorite character. I had a huge crush on Harrison Ford, as did most women,
girls
attracted to men in the 1980s. I had a huge crush on him. I loved him deeply as a character, and so I should hate Kylo Ren. I should hate him. And I did feel very angry at him at the end of this movie. Obviously, my feelings about him evolved as the movies went on. But Adam Driver finds a way to make him sympathetic, which is something he does so well. It's like, you take this character that could be the one-dimensional, like, oh, he's just the villain. He's the good son gone bad or whatever. And instead, he creates this incredibly conflicted person who seems to hate himself as much as everyone else hates him.
Yep.
Or more, maybe. I don't know. And it's the scene between him and Harrison Ford on the bridge is like a real highlight of this movie, I think. And again, it's not about a low light.
No, I mean, it's just so sad. It's just so upsetting. It's like, it's like the low light of the movie, like, because it's so sad. It's like,
I think it's the lowest point for that character for sure.
Yeah.
For both Ben and Han Solo. That is the lowest point for both of them. Obviously, it's the last point for
when he falls off.
Oh God. The touching his face. Oh my God. It's like,
and you can tell it breaks Ben's heart.
I know. And I think do you think there was a moment where he was going to go walk away with his father and leave? Do you think there was a moment, or was it always just
I watched it very carefully today, and I don't have a clear answer on that. I couldn't decide if that was, if he always planned to kill him, or if that was a spur of the moment thing, or if he was told. I think he might have been told to kill him.
I think he was told to kill him by Snoke. I think that was definitely because that I think that's something that would have been part of his path to becoming a Sith, which honestly I don't think he ever does. Like, if I look at all three movies, like, yes, he's on the dark side, but he never fully turns. He never fully loses all of the light inside of him, so he never fully becomes a Sith. We never see him transition to that. So I think this was part of that path that he was supposed to be on. But I do think that there is a moment where it seems like, I think he was contemplating going home and just giving it all up. I think there was a moment, but it wasn't deep enough in him. This was like, I wanted to say, like, the low point for him.
Yeah, that's something Adam Driver is
in these films, at least,
good at these complex characters that I really like. He was doing both. He was doing it at the same time.
I know
his face is so expressive and so, like, detailed, and nuanced. It's just like incredible.
It was all just a torrent of emotions.
And Harrison Ford's face in that scene too was just heartbreaking. Just his horror and his love of his son, even though his son just killed him. Like,
but yeah,
this
it's
is
like
the love in his eyes.
you would put that hand up and touch them one last time. I feel like you would,
oh God,
as a parent. Like, I think he knows that deep down his son loves him.
That's so horrible.
I know, and I'm glad that we get some resolution to that later. Like, again, this is one of the things we'll wait to talk about that when we talk about Rise of Skywalker, but I'm glad that we didn't leave it there, because if this is the last time I saw Han Solo, it would have been real rough. It was rough in the theater to watch. I was very upset about this. But yeah, Adam Driver really knocks it out of the park here, I think.
I didn't want to interrupt you before we went on this story with Han and Ben, but the scene between Rey and Kylo where he has kidnapped her and brought her into
that's
my favorite scene in this film, just because she really, it's like, wow, she has actual power and can kind of fight back.
Yes, absolutely. I think that I didn't mean to skip over that scene. I think I did because maybe it's listed one of my moments of thirst.
Sorry.
No, let's talk about it because we can come back to that. I think it is one of the best scenes in the movie as well. Like, the last 30 minutes of the movie is just really so good. But yeah, so Rey gets captured, which we mentioned, and then he's interrogating her. And I thought it was crazy when I saw this movie. I was like, so we're really never going to see Adam Driver's face. I was like, his fucking helmet is going to be on the whole time. And I think that there was a scene where you did see his face sooner. I think it's when they're talking about just the turning on the Starkiller Base and destroying Hosnian Prime, but they actually digitally put in the helmet because they decided to hold off until this moment to reveal his face. And I think it was the right choice to wait until just now.
And then you see his very expressive baby face.
He's it's just so perfect the way she calls him a creature in a mask, and he takes off the mask and you're like, whoa, look at that. He's beautiful. He's a fucking Disney prince. He's so beautiful. His hair is perfectly coiffed, and his face is he's just
and the high necked,
God,
like the highlights his his jaw.
I know.
Nicole is having a moment.
I'm having a moment. My body is tingling.
Oh my God. So, but the look on her face, where you can just tell she's like, "Whoo.
Oh, he's hot. Oops.
I know.
Oh shit." He is not a creature. Yeah. So
but she still hates him.
Yeah,
she's like, I hate you, but
God, you're hot. But yeah, I love this scene because so later through the course of the films, we discovered that they have a very special connection. There's something really special about their relationship in the Force. Mm-hmm. And this is a moment where he tries to, again, invade her mind, and she is not only able to resist him, but also able to do it back to him without any training. And I think it's because there's something in this moment, this collision of them, in my mind, canonically in my mind, that this collision between the two of them is what unlocks her abilities.
Mm-hmm.
Because the two of them are like two halves of the same soul, or they're soulmates. And so to have them unlock this thing, that at the moment they're on very opposite sides. So we see this journey from Ben being at his darkest to ultimately we'll see him turn towards the light, and Rey sort of starting very innocent and then sort of maturing, and even flirting with the darkness at some point, her own darkness as well. And so we kind of see this moment where they're at their two most polar opposites, and she's able to see into his mind and expose his vulnerabilities. And it's very scary to him to have someone able to do that, to see inside his mind. Although I'm sure
it always is very scary when you meet your soulmate.
Oh yeah. And again, I didn't really get to this before, but one of the things I love about this character, again, Ben Solo, is that, and I think that sometimes people and everybody can take whatever they want from this. Like, I'm not saying you can't, but I feel like there's a tendency to either oversimplify, like say that, oh, he's good and he's done bad things, but it's and to pass off those things and just say, yeah, but ultimately he's good, or he's a bad guy, he's a villain, and he's neither one of those things. Like, I think in the end he chooses love, which we'll get to when we get to that movie. But you can't ignore, in the first scene of the film, they slaughter a whole village of people, innocent people, right? Mm-hmm. So he's good and bad. Mm-hmm. He's both.
Yep.
Based on the choices that he makes. And yes, he was pushed into those choices in certain ways, but he made the choice. Mm-hmm. Luke Skywalker was also pushed to make choices. Now, he wasn't groomed in the same way. Like Ben was very clearly attacked for very strategic reasons from the time he was a baby, but he's good and bad, and that's what makes him interesting. Mm-hmm. Is watching him struggle with that and try to decide who he's really going to be. That's what makes him interesting, is that he has both of those things inside of him, I think.
We all love good bad boys.
Especially with hair and lips like that. Am I right? Yes. Oh my God.
Yes.
Okay. What else you got on your list?
So, should we just talk about the last fight scene?
Yes, please. Can we? Because that was one of the highlights of my life, was that lightsaber duel.
Oh my God.
I'm shit you not.
So I think we should start with the Finn Kylo, because that's kind of like the first thing that happens. So yep. Finn, I would say that if I had my 3 moments of thirst for Finn, one of the moments of thirst would be Finn
when he lights that lightsaber. By the way, have you ever seen the video of John Boyega watching the trailer for the first time?
Yes.
Oh God, it's so delightful. The way he like cheers when you see his lightsaber, and everybody in the room is like, oh, so good. Sorry, I'm like moistening my lips as I talk to you.
So I love, that fight, because you see like Finn is just so like excited to fight. Not excited, like happy excited, but like he's like he really is.
They're pissed.
Yes.
They just watched him kill Han Solo. Mm-hmm. Chewbacca shot him with the bowcaster. Did Chewie miss on purpose? We've seen him fucking mowing down stormtroopers with that thing.
That's true. It was a long way away. It was a long way away.
Yeah, but he could have shot him in the head, I think.
Why did Chewie miss? I
think he was angry and he shot him with the bowcaster on purpose, but I think I don't know. Again, canonically in my head, I think he chose to shoot him in a non-lethal place.
Listeners, if you know why the fuck Chewie would do something like that,
why he would miss, because he held that little baby in his arms. Like you don't think about that because they don't talk about it too much in the movies, but
you're right.
But he's basically like an uncle to him. Yeah. Like in the books he does call him uncle, I think.
That's true. I was just thinking about Han and how close Chewie is with Han, but I didn't.
Oh yeah, which is why he shot him. But I think he made a choice not to shoot him in a lethal place.
Listeners, I think he could have killed him. Tweet us about that, please.
No, sure.
I'm just kidding.
No, I'm just saying, like, what's your opinion on that? Do you think he missed on purpose? Tweeted us at AdamAndyPod. I think Chewie missed on purpose, but I think he was very upset. And you don't piss off a Wookiee, so he will shoot you.
Mm-hmm. But he'll shoot you in the leg if
he shot him he actually shot him in the torso.
Oh, that's
in the side.
That's bad.
Yeah, so he could have
died.
He got fucked up for sure. So the fight between Finn and Kylo.
Kylo gets Finn, like he gets him a few times and like slashes up his back and incapacitates Finn.
It's not a long fight. I mean, Finn really holds his own against somebody who has been very well trained
for decades, probably.
Yeah, since he was a child.
Yeah, so Finn is down, and then
of course Kylo is bleeding, so he's probably not at full capacity. But yeah, he's still,
and
he's very showy offy. He's so showy offy. Where he's using the pain. Well, because the dark side thrives on pain for its power. So he's like, I imagine in my head, it's just him drawing upon that pain to
my
fuel
side
his
hurts
power.
Now. I just like punched myself in the side.
Yeah, it hurts. But yeah, the way it's like there's something very animalistic about it.
What's so funny about that, like where he punches himself, is I imagine
we're talking about Kylo punching himself, his own wound, to wound. Like
so
feel the pain as he's. I'm
like picturing that something that Adam Driver, the person, would actually do. Like, don't you think that seems like something he would actually do? It seems like
an acting choice, yeah. Although
no, I don't mean the acting choice. I mean like Adam Driver as a person. It just seems
maybe. I mean, it seems very intense. Yeah, it's very intense. It's definitely. Although we do see the blood dripping on the snow, so I definitely think that was a planned shot.
So I love this moment when he sees. So Finn,
he seems kind of fucking crazy, honestly. Like after he kills Han Solo, he becomes a little unhinged for a minute there.
So Finn's lightsaber lands in the snow or something like that, which is actually
we didn't really bring this up because I think everybody who's seen this movie probably knows this already, but that lightsaber actually is Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber. And Luke's, it was the lightsaber that Luke was using in Empire when his hand got cut off. Actually, funny enough, I'm actually reading a comic right now that takes place in between New Hope and Empire, Empire and Jedi, where Luke and Lando go back to Cloud City to try to retrieve his lightsaber, which he does not find.
So the lightsaber is in the snow.
And Ben wants it because that's Anakin Skywalker's lightsaber.
And then flies past him, and Rey catches it. And it's
I tell you,
whoa.
When I tell you, I love the way he's so saucy about it too. He like puts his lightsaber away, like, now I'm just going to get this thing. This lightsaber that belonged to his grandfather, right? And he's like, holding out his hand to call the lightsaber to him, and he can't get it. And you can see him get a little frustrated with it. When I tell you that when that lightsaber hits Rey's palm in the movie theater, I cried. Because all I wanted, I love Princess Leia. She's amazing. She's incredible. All I wanted when I was a kid was a hero like that. Someone who looked like a female hero that could hold their own against the worst bad guy. And I absolutely love Rey for her ingenuity, for her intelligence, for her independence, for her strength. And this lightsaber fight is in my top 5 favorite lightsaber fights. I cried watching her fight him in the movie theater because I was like, oh my God, this is something I really desperately wanted and I never thought I'd get to see.
No, I mean, that's something that I didn't mention at the start of this, but for me, when I first heard about it and saw the trailer, I was so excited that the protagonist was female. Like, that was something that was really
we didn't know
exciting to me.
We didn't know who, like, I feel like there's a lot of stories we're following here, but I don't think we knew how important her story was until we saw the movie. Because
I had heard about it. I had heard that she was read a bit
one
about
of
the story.
Many protagonists. Like her and Finn and Kylo Ren were all kind of like they never said who the movie was about, and it was something they were all listed as being the stars of the movie, but they didn't really say. And you didn't, like, we saw posters with Finn holding the lightsaber, but you never saw. They really held off on Daisy holding the lightsaber. You didn't see her hold the lightsaber until after the movie came out.
Okay. I don't know, like, I feel like...
I swear to you.
Okay. Well, I didn't see her with a lightsaber, but I got the impression that she was, like, the main character, like, more so than... Like, she was, like, the Luke Skywalker of these films.
I don't think that I don't think that was indicated in any of the press. I think they deliberately held off on that until the movie came out. Okay. And I do think that the story isn't just about her. It's also about Kylo Ren, and it's also about Finn. I think Poe is much more, his storyline is a lot more he's more of a supporting character in this movie. He becomes a little bit more in the forefront in the second movie.
Yeah.
But I would say that Finn's journey and Kylo Ren and Rey are the main characters of this film.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's our Luke Skywalker, but they did not indicate anything of the sort in the press. They kept that to themselves.
But yeah, this fight was just like, it was so intense, and she just got more and more angry and intense, and she ended up getting
what happens is she's losing. Like, he's chasing her through the woods, and at some point he offers to teach her.
Mm-hmm.
And he says that
the edge of a cliff.
Yeah, he's backing back. So let me ask you this. Do you think he is trying to kill her or not?
Not.
I don't think so either, because the way he was able to take Finn out so quickly,
mm-hmm.
I think that he is. I don't think he was trying to kill her. I think he's intrigued by her.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially that look on his face when the lightsaber flies into her hand, and he's like, "Oh shit, here we go." With his, and he's like, I don't think he had any. I don't think he was trying to kill her, but he offers to teach her, and then when he mentions the Force, that's when she takes a few deep cleansing breaths, as we all must at one time when battling ourselves and our enemies, and that's when she goes after him, and I love how feral she is, where she's just like, like his moves are very ballet like he's very, you can see how he's very trained, and she's just like hacking at him with the lightsaber.
Yeah. So I love that moment too, where they take that pause and they go back and forth between the two of them, and he's like his face is like grr grr, and she's just like
serenity.
Zen.
Yeah.
Like just zen.
Yeah.
And that is, that is the thing about the light side, is it is very zen, very Buddhist, and about mindfulness and that kind of stuff. And the Sith is about manipulation and anger.
Yes, but also what they draw from is passion and anger. And those are things that are not. So, again, I like to see a more gray view of what the Force should be, but in the dichotomy of this story, it's the Sith or the dark side relies on anger and passion and all that stuff. And in fact, I think the way they describe it in the prequels is that the dark side Force users are selfish. They think about themselves. That's how the Jedi view it anyway. And the Jedi think about others. It's outward.
Yeah.
But that's how the Jedi describe it in any case.
So yeah, and that's the turn where she starts to win, and she gets him like in the leg, and she like eventually like slashes up his face.
She cuts his face in half.
And he just looks at her like, I can't believe it. And then there's like this giant chasm.
So they've blown up Starkiller Base. Poe, Han Solo and Chewie they all set charges to blow it up, part of it, and then the resistance pilots blew up the rest of the base. And so the planet is coming apart. And so at the end of their fight, the planet literally splits into two, where there's him on one side and her on the other side, which I know it's a really kind of beat you over the head with it kind of image, but I eat it up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially knowing what we know about them later, which is that they are a dyad, right? They are bonded by the Force. They're soulmates. And so at this point, that bond is broken in half. And I also just love the image of her scarring his beautiful face. Like, he had to wear the mask because he doesn't look like a monster, but he wants to be a monster, or he wants to accept what he thinks about himself, which is that he's a monster. And she gives him something that makes him look like a monster. Like, now you look as fucked up as you are inside.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
that's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah.
So we've been talking for some time. Final thoughts.
I enjoy this movie. I do love the Star Wars universe, and I have since I was a kid. I will say that the fact that this movie is the characters, the fact that the main character is the main, I guess, good, like, the hero is female. I think that was a big deal for me when it first came out, and
Same.
it still is, because I remember being 8 years old and seeing A New Hope in theaters and coming home and being like, I want to like play pretend that I'm like a Jedi and stuff, but I was like, wait, but I can only be Leia, because I was thinking like,
although Leia's fucking great, kick-ass for the time period that she was in. She's like a general. She's like orchestrating the strategy of everything. But yeah, she's not
like,
a Jedi. She doesn't get to be a
an
Jedi.
8-year-old.
I know. I get you. You're like, I don't want to play the general ordering people. That sounds dumb. I get it.
Yeah,
I agree.
So yeah, fine.
I wanted to be in there with the lightsaber.
Final thoughts. I like it. I will watch it again and again. I mean, it's not like an amazing work of art, but it is a really enjoyable, and it is a lot better than the prequels.
Right. So now some of the people listening to the show might really love the prequels, and that's awesome. I know that I think it's for people that grew up with the prequels, that's their shit, and you should love the shit that you love. I grew up with the original trilogy. I think I don't know if I've said this on the show before, but I have in time now, through watching all these movies and all this stuff together and reading the books and stuff, I have come to also appreciate the prequels in a way that I did not at the time when they came out. I didn't like them very much. But I do think there's a lot of good stuff there. And I know for a lot of people, the prequels are that's their like thing that they really,
well, yeah, that's
love.
fine. I just like, for me, it's
but yeah,
not.
For you, it's not.
So yeah.
I love this movie. It gave me all the things that I wanted in a Star Wars film. It kicked off years of more Star Wars content. It introduced me to these characters that I just love so much. Rey was the hero that I wanted when I was a kid, and I'm so glad that we got to have her. I love Finn. I love Poe. I think that they did an excellent job of incorporating the new characters with the old characters, and also not letting the original trilogy characters like overshadow the story of the new characters. I really feel like, yes, there's a little bit of retreading, not a little bit. There's a lot of retreading old plots here, but they're given to me. They served up to me in a new, fresh way, with characters and remixing and kind of calling back to things. So I don't have a problem with it. I know some people did. I don't. I really love this movie a lot, and every time I watch it, I enjoy it. And that fucking lightsaber fight, just like, love it so much.
Really good.
Moments of thirst.
Yes.
I'm going to try to narrow it down. I have 5 moments of thirst.
Okay.
Whose turn is it to go first?
You can go first.
Okay. Okay, this is going to sound absurd, but the first moment of thirst I would like to acknowledge is just the way that Adam Driver walks in this movie. Like his whole movement, his body movement. It's like he lumbers. And there's something about it. Not only does he lumber, but like the sound effects department was like, let's make sure that every time he steps, it sounds like a fucking block of iron is landing somewhere. Like they were just like, let's make him sound huge and heavy. And I love it. And I just, his body movement is so unique to the character. And we don't get to see his face for so long that I think it's really important that we have that. And he seems like kind of this like lanky, like lumbering emo prince. And I just love it. So that's number 1. Number 2 is the interrogation scene. It's like one of the hottest things I've ever seen, especially when he takes the helmet off and you see his beautiful, beautiful face and his beautiful hair. I did put out hair as also, like I put down hair, all caps, with exclamation points, because his hair is just like, I know we talk about his hair all the time, but like, why is it so goddamn beautiful? Number 3 on my list. The way that he can use the Force so easily without having to put the hand up. Like, I know he does do the hand thing, but like he can literally just be like, I'm gonna hold this laser bolt for like an hour, bitches. And there's something super hot about that. He also does that later in the woods when she's shooting at him and he holds her arm. And I, like, obviously I understand there's a lot of, he kidnaps her and all that, blah, blah, blah. I get that. But I'm not saying that that's hot to be kidnapped. But there's just something about how strong he is.
Strong.
Like. And then the lightsaber fight. I just think he's super hot during that lightsaber fight. I like how he looks like a wild animal and his face is all sweaty. And I love his like acrobatics, like all his little spins and twirls, and when he's twirling, like he's such a show off, and I love it. And I just imagine how much work he put into that and how much training he did to like achieve what is such a beautiful fight. Like both of those actors just like worked so hard to make that lightsaber fight. Well, all 3 of them, because they all were in that scene, but they worked so hard at that, and it just shows because it's like so exciting and fun, but filled with emotion. Like it's not action for action's sake, So those are my moments of thirst.
I think it's funny. I mean, not funny, like weird, but like I think it's cute how your moments of thirst are always like themes, or like they're like just like blocks of things, and mine are always like very specific moments. So I have 3 very specific moments. When the first scene in the woods, when he holds up his lightsaber to her face and it's like really close, and he says, "Where's the droid?"
Yes, because he's so fucking powerful.
Yes.
The next thing, your giant throbbing lightsaber is right next to my face.
Exactly. Also,
I'm blushing again.
When in the interrogation scene, when he takes off the helmet, and
oh my god, it's just like I could just watch that on a loop.
And he's like,
I know, and he's like, do I look like a monster now? Like, look at my beautiful skin.
It's just like pink and like
he's
wet.
Such a soft baby. Oh my god.
Yes.
I love it.
Also, the third moment of thirst is when Rey, at the last fight between him and Rey, when she, lights up her saber and he does
twirls.
The little,
I know the twirl.
And it turns on.
Oh god, yes, I agree. 1,000%. Oh my god, yes.
What's so funny is that's like a CGI effect.
Like but the
way he like flips it.
I know. Ugh, it's just so good. God, I might watch this again in my bed after this recording. Okay. Wow. I really enjoyed talking about this movie with you. I would like to think we can make this a tradition of watching Star Wars, because I don't want to watch too many of these back to back. I mean, I do. Sorry. I mean, I do, but I don't want to, like, it feels right to watch them around Christmas time. I don't know. What do you think? Like, we make it a date to watch it on Christmas. We'll watch The Last Jedi next Christmas.
Okay.
What do you think? Because that's when they came out.
Good.
As you would imagine, I'm normally up for pretty much anything in the bedroom, but I can't tell if what happened was weird or sexy.
Adam and Andy trivia?
Adam or Andy, I have one thing.
Adam or Andy, a trivia contest for one. I'm very excited. What do we got this week?
This one thing.
Okay, I'm excited.
He is rumored to have hooked up with Natalie Portman.
Well, let's see. Andy is older by like 10 years. So I'm going to go with Andy.
That's your reasoning? Because he's older?
Well, I don't know that Adam Driver and Natalie Portman have been in any movies together, but I don't know that Andy Samberg has been in any movies with. But also Adam and Joanne and his wife Joanne have been together since they were in college, like since before he was famous. So
I didn't say when this happened. I just said it
I know. I believe in love, so I'm gonna go with Andy Samberg.
You're correct.
Yes,
Andy Samberg is
because
rumored to have
I want to believe that Joanne and Adam are just so in love they would never touch anyone else or even think about it.
In their entire lives, no. Yes, so this is rumored to have happened when Andy and Natalie did the Natalie Raps on SNL.
On SNL, the first one. Because there's 2, right?
2006.
Okay. Wait, and when did he get married?
2013.
Okay, yeah, then that totally makes sense. Yeah. Ew, wow. Go Andy. Good for you, bro. She's hot.
I mean, hot. It might not have happened, but that's why I said
it's a rumor.
Rumored.
Oh, okay. Two hot people just sparking. That's good for them. You know?
Yeah, the place where I found this was like in 2006. Natalie was having like a mid-20s crisis where she was hooking up with lots of guys, and I was just like, that's so.
Why say it like that? No, let her date if she wants to date or do whatever. She doesn't have to date. Let her just let the woman live her life.
Oh, you look awesome. Come the fuck upstairs.
Okay.
But wait, I have to warn you about something.
What?
If you come up here, I'm going to tie you to my bed and keep you for at least 3 days. I'm just in that kind of mood.
Okay. Are you ready to spin the wheel?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do that. All right. So let me share my screen. Well, actually, let me get to the right screen first. Okay. So it is an Andy day. So we're going to be spinning the wheel. So Sarah and I had a conversation off mic, which was we're starting to run out of Andy films. Not that he hasn't been in a lot of stuff, but he has. But it's like he'll be in like a movie, but he's like a side character. And we're like, do we want to watch a whole movie just for like one or two scenes with Andy? I don't know. So we decided that we are going to we're going to watch Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Like we've got to. Am I right?
Yes.
Yeah, so we got to do that. But we decided that it made more sense to us to add the last 3 big things on. Now, we know he's in Hotel Transylvania. We know that he's in there's a Chip movie. I've seen it. My kids have watched it. But we're not interested in watching Hotel Transylvania. I've seen it. It's great. But it doesn't make me thirsty.
As it should not.
So we're just gonna put the last couple big things on the wheel here, and then we're probably going to begin watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine. I don't know, 4 episodes at a time, right? So we're gonna watch this stuff, and then we'll start into Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then when an Andy movie comes out, we'll watch it, right? Okay. So at the moment, we have Tour de Pharmacy, Lonely Island Shorts Volume 1, because I figure we'll be able to watch a couple of those. Pop Star, Never Stop Stopping. Never Stopping. I'm never going to say that right. All right, so let's see what we're going to watch next. Spinning the wheel. And it is going to be Tour de Pharmacy. So Tour de Pharmacy, which I believe... Well, actually, let me go ahead and look that up. I think that is the other... it's kind of like The 7 Days in Hell. Same writer, director. Okay, so a mockumentary that chronicles the prevalence of doping in the world of professional cycling, starring Andy Samberg, Orlando Bloom, Freddie Highmore.
Orlando Bloom.
Yeah, so we've got a little Orlando Bloom in there. So that's what we'll be watching next.
Nice.
All right, so before we go, a couple things I wanted to plug. One of the things we really enjoy about this show, besides watching all these wonderful films, is chatting with you on social media. So you can find us on Facebook and Instagram at Adam and Andy Podcast, and you can find us on Twitter at Adam Andy Pod. So please come talk to us. Tell us about your thoughts and feelings about The Force Awakens. We love to hear from you. Also, I'd really quickly like to plug the Critical Crop Top YouTube channel. Critical Crop Top Media produces this podcast as well as the Feminine Mistake podcast. We also do a bunch of comedy. Do a bunch of sketch comedy, short films, web series, and you can also watch the vidcast of this podcast on our YouTube channel. So find Critical Crop Top on YouTube. where you can enjoy the vidcast of this podcast as well as the other podcasts we do. And Sarah, pretty soon we're going to start releasing those sketches that we shot on Zoom.
So excited.
We're going to be releasing the Critical Crop Top Sketch Comedy web show. So that is going to be coming out January-ish. I don't know. I'm still editing it. It's going to be happening soon. But we also have a bunch of other sketches from our live shows that we release weekly. So there's new content coming out all the time. So come check us out. So that's Critical Crop Top on YouTube. And that's it. Sarah, are you going to follow this up with the Last Jedi? You're gonna have to watch the next one after this?
I think I'm gonna have to. I can't wait till next Christmas.
Oh, I can't. I cycle through all the Star Wars movies like every couple of months. I got to watch them all again. So yeah, I actually watched the trailer for Last Jedi after this. Like I watched this, then I watched the trailer for Force Awakens, then I watched the trailer for Last Jedi, and I was like, oh God. That moment at the end when she's like, have you watched the trailer in a while?
Mm-mm.
Okay, well, the trailer ends. First of all, I was like very interested in like everything going on, but at the very end in the trailer, they cut it together from two different parts of the movie, but you have Rey saying, I need someone to show me my place and all this. And then they cut to Kylo Ren and he's got his hand out, like, join me, like that scene on the supremacy. And I remember just like Chris and I just like screaming at the end. We were like, what does this mean? What does this mean? So I might have to go curl up in bed and watch it right now.
Wow.
Sarah, fuck 2020.
Fuck it.
Next time we record this show, it'll be 2021. So let's hope for better times.
Yes. Wow.
But you know what, Sarah, thank you for helping me get through this horrible bullshit year. I love doing the show with you. So thank you.
I love it so much. Thank you.
I deeply love you.
I deeply love you too.
So listeners, we'll see you next year.
See you in 2021.